All right. Oh, man. Let's do this. What a season it has turned out to be. We have a champion. Some are happy, some are sad, some could care less. But you know what we got to do. We, of course, have to talk about it. So, what is up, everybody? And welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Meat on the 50. You know what it is? It is our big game Super Bowl review episode. Where we're going to be basically, just like I said, reviewing, breaking down the big game that took place this last Sunday. So, let's not waste any time. Let's start the show. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the final episode for the 2022-2023 NFL season of Meat on the 50. You know what it is. It is our big game review episode. We have the Super Bowl. It just took place. We have a winner. We have a world champion. We have the number one team in the NFL. And no surprise, no shocker to really anybody at all. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, unfortunately. The Kansas City Chiefs have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35 in what was an absolute thriller of a game. And we're going to break it all down. And of course, joining me to break down all the action, he's been with me all season long, and he'll be joining me for more seasons to come. One of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just a really good Super Bowl. A lot of back and forth, a high-scoring game. You know, sometimes you get low-scoring games, sometimes you get blowouts. This one came down to essentially the final possession. So it's always good when you have two really competitive teams, and you can just sense that they both really wanted it. So just the last two Super Bowls, maybe not so much the results that you've wanted, but just really good Super Bowls overall, really good games overall, these past two seasons. So super entertaining.
Yeah, this definitely was definitely an entertaining game. It was a very viewed game. It was one of the third most watched Super Bowl in history. So people were tuning in. People were tuning in to watch this action. There was back and forth basically the entire game. It came down to basically the final drive and the final 2 minutes of the game, and what essentially was a drive down the field to get them into field goal range. What looked like it was going to be, a field goal with some time left for Philadelphia ended up turning into a penalty that essentially took them down to the 5-yard line, which basically essentially let them ice the game. So the Kansas City Chiefs did what they were supposed to do. I think everybody kind of felt all along, yes, the Eagles were kind of built up to be this kind of monster, this machine, but really it kind of was everybody was kind of rolling with the Chiefs. It was kind of back in the Patriot days when the Patriots were in the Super Bowl. No one really wanted the Patriots to win. You wanted the other team, but you just knew that they were going to win. You knew that they were going to find a way to get the job done and seal the deal and win the game. And that's exactly who the Kansas City Chiefs are now. They are the team that somehow finds a way to get the job done, seal the deal, and end up hanging on and clinching games. And that's exactly what they did here in the Super Bowl. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this game. So it was back and forth. 7-7 after the first 24-14 heading into halftime, with Philadelphia having that 10-point lead. Mahomes re-aggravating that ankle. Chad Henne, who's I think 80 years old, had to come in and quarterback some downs for a little bit. But Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes does, comes out the second half and just basically turns into Showtime Mahomes. Just basically goes off every single drive that the Kansas City Chiefs have. They score. whether it be a field goal, touchdowns. It was 3 touchdowns until the final field goal at the end of the game. But yeah, Mahomes leading his team down there for 3 consecutive touchdown drives. And then essentially that game-winning drive. Philadelphia only being able to muster 11 points in the second half, which is essentially why they lost the game. Philadelphia, though, put on a hell of a performance on offense. You had Devontae Smith, basically a second-year receiver, right? Devontae Smith just kind of hyped up coming out of Alabama. Is he going to live up to the hype? 7 receptions for 100 yards. He definitely had a great game. Same thing with A.J. Brown and that great route that he ran to just shake the Kansas City Chiefs defender and get open for that touchdown. So the receivers, I feel like they did their jobs. The big receivers did their jobs when they needed it most. Jalen Hurts did his job when they needed it most. But at the end of the day, right, I guess it really kind of proves it, right? Defense wins championships, offense wins awards. Yeah, there was, 73 points scored. But at the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs defense was able to muster up the stops that they need to hold the Philadelphia Eagles to 11 points in the second half. The Chiefs scored 24, the Eagles scored 11. That's the biggest difference right there. So if the Eagles would have scored 7 more points, if they would have scored 1 more touchdown, game's over. So it really goes back to just the give and flow. Patrick Mahomes, though, definitely a superstar. Definitely all the hype buildup around him, definitely real. It's more so him than the people around him. I will say that. Travis Kelce obviously is a big reason for his success and just basically getting him where he needs to be. Same thing with their running game. They're usually able to find a stable of solid running backs. We're starting with all the way going back to Jamal Charles. But the Chiefs somehow, some way, usually are able to find a stable of good running backs. And they found another one in this guy named Isaiah Pacheco. So solid running game for him. Solid running game all around by both teams. It was a back and forth game. It was a real back and forth game. Little ticky-tacky fouls, false starts, neutral zone infractions, offsides, things like that were being called. Not too much else. Then we come to the end of the game where in back-to-back Super Bowls, in the most crucial moments, the officials are getting involved. Why? I don't know. I'm sure it's part of the business plan, which at this point, it is what it is. Nothing you can really do about it. Unless someone physically runs onto the field and assaults the refs, it's going to continue for basically however long that Brandon and I are alive. So the NFL is always going to do what the NFL wants to do. Obviously, that wasn't the determining factor of the game. It was a extreme crucial moment of the game, and it's a moment that you can't leave out. You have to talk about it. So it definitely was a huge moment by the officials making that call, and it definitely essentially ended the game. But at the end of the day, Eagles had their chances. Chiefs capitalized on their chances. Patrick Mahomes came out throwing lasers, throwing darts, getting 3 touchdowns in there in the second half. So the Chiefs did what they needed to do to win the Super Bowl, and they did. They're the Super Bowl champions. They are the number 1 team in the NFL. Brandon, my friend, some thoughts on the Super Bowl, the Chiefs, the Eagles, both performances, and some takeaways that you got.
Yeah, if you asked me at the beginning of the season if I would root for the Chiefs ever, I would say no. I think that there was still salt in the wound from losing our Super Bowl against them, and me thinking, we're the better team, we should have won. And I truly do think that we were the better team that year. I obviously a biased opinion. I just think that they had just by far the better quarterback.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Garoppolo, much love to him for helping turn the organization around. I have nothing but respect for him. But looking back, I just think, that, just that's the factor. That's what it was right there. So the Chiefs needed to do this for me to, people would say you're crazy. Patrick Mahomes is an incredible quarterback. He's been the AFC champ. He's hosted 5 straight AFC championship games. He's been to the Super Bowl 3 times in his first 5 years as a starting quarterback, which is incredible. I just can't anymore. I just have nothing to say. It's just like, with the Golden State Warriors, just a little bit off topic. with the whole Durant thing where they got Durant and then they won a title, but Kevin Love and, Kyrie Irving were hurt. They had to prove to me that they could do it without injuries and without, all that stuff. And they did. So I have nothing that I can say. I'm even favoring them to get back to the finals when everybody's saying they're done this year. So what I'm saying is the Chiefs did what they had to do. They proved it to me this year that they're worthy to be champions. They lost Tyreek Hill. They lost Damian Williams. They lost Tyrann Mathieu. They lost key pieces on Sorensen. They lost key pieces on defense, and they lost key pieces on offense. Juju Smith-Schuster is an okay wide receiver. He made plays when they needed him to. He's like a game-managing wide receiver. Same thing with MVS. So Tyreek Hill is a top 5 receiver in the NFL. Is going to go down as probably a first ballot Hall of Fame running back. He's one of the wide receivers. He's one of the fastest wide receivers I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Take him away. You take these pieces away, and for him, you give me that roster, and for him to do that on a bum ankle, I just think that, I know we talked about it. It didn't look too bum, but here's my thing. When the adrenaline's running through your bone and through your veins in a Super Bowl, I think that definitely helps. I do think the pain is there, but, as football players, they have to manage the pain. I think, at that point in the season, I think they're all going through pain. But for him to come back with a high ankle sprain, I have nothing but respect now for Patrick Mahomes. He earned my respect. I have nothing that I can say. They beat our team in the Super Bowl, fair and square. They were able to do that. There were some controversial calls in that game that I wish that we could have back, but it's the same thing with the Crabtree and the Ravens Super Bowl. I mean, it just, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. It's just unfortunate. But that, like you said, that one play does not define it. So I want to start with the first quarter. The Eagles came out firing. They played really well. Jalen Hurts threw a really good pass. I thought it was it was a good pass, but you threw it into double coverage if they kind of make one move, or I think it was McDuffie. If one of them makes one move, that's a pick. So, but hats off to him for delivering that pass, and A.J. Brown making the play. They came out firing. I think the one play, though, that really defining moment of the game that really just gave the Chiefs kind of the win at the end, the one result is Jalen Hurts turning the ball over. Unfortunately, turning the ball over and giving the Chiefs 7 points. If you don't give them those 7 points, you win the game. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy how that worked out. You look at it like that. Patrick Mahomes, superstar Patrick Mahomes, did not turn the ball over. I think that was the big difference in the game. A turnover that led to 7 points. I mean, you could even argue the Chiefs should have had 41 because Butker missed a field goal, which that was not even a long field goal. But all the drives that Mahomes manufactured in the second half, I honestly thought the Eagles were going to win at halftime, because I was like, all the momentum's in their favor. They're up 24-14. The Chiefs can't get a stop. And the Eagles stopped the Chiefs a couple of times. So I was like, I thought going in, Rihanna at halftime, which that was a really good halftime show, by the way. I guess it was the most viewed halftime show ever. So from what I read, but coming back into the second half, just like you said, Mahomes just manufacturing drive after drive after drive after drive, and some miscues by the Eagles. You cannot let it was the longest punt return in NFL history. I'm just saying. So those two critical mistakes is why you lost the game. It's not because of a flag at the end. I know you want to I know people, Eagles fans especially, because not a lot of fans after that, they want to gravitate towards that right away. But the two key mistakes that you made that the Chiefs did not was you fumbled the ball and let them have 7 points. And you gave up a punt return down to the 4-yard line to a quarterback who is as good as it gets in the red zone. So Andy Reid outcoached Sirianni. Two touchdowns with the very same play on opposite sides of the end zone. One to Tony. And the other one to Sky Moore. I thought that was funny, where they do the motion inside, you bring the safety in, and then you cut right back out. Brilliant plays by Andy Reid. It's just kind of, we're seeing what I'm pretty sure Eagles fans are a little bit bitter, but
Oh, of course,
harping on Andy Reid and
yeah.
all this stuff, and they're still saying like F Andy Reid, all this stuff. Andy Reid did all he could. I mean, if you think about it, you gave him, a superstar quarterback. I mean, Donovan McNabb was a good quarterback, but he's no Mahomes. So,
well, Terrell Owens even came back 7 weeks after having a broken leg and having 122 receiving yards in that game. So, and that game came down to a field goal too, that the Patriots got. So,
Andy Reid. So, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. Hats off to Jalen Hurts. He did have a very good game. I think they're gonna have to do something about that gimmick quarterback sneak, because it's just honestly like the most cheapest thing ever. Like you get a first
lining
down,
up
every freaking play from like 2 or 3 yards back.
Yeah,
it's like you just pile. I don't know. Maybe the NFL is gonna have some way to like change that formation, but that's like a complete gimmick. Like there's no way to when there's no way to stop a play, the NFL will probably try to find a way to shake that up. But hey, they did what they were supposed to do. Unfortunately, Jalen Hurts had to play perfect, and he did. He played close to perfect, but he did not. In order to beat Patrick Mahomes, you have to play perfect football.
Yeah,
just the bottom line. And Andy Reid, because they're gonna get points. That's just the thing. So Jalen Hurts, hats off to him. Unfortunately, the last 16 quarterbacks that have gone to a Super Bowl, their first appearance, and they lost. Not only did they not win a Super Bowl again, they didn't even get back. And that is scary to me, because that leads me to believe that, there's something with the psyche, there's something with the team changing, there's something with the hangover, there's something that when you stumble in that moment over the last 25 years, these quarterbacks are not able to get back to the Super Bowl. So will Jalen Hurts be able to get back to the Super Bowl? The odds are astronomically against him at this point. Same thing with Joe Burrow. But surprisingly enough, those are the two quarterbacks that I think are the most likely to, just based on the teams that they have assembled. You know me, I have full faith in Joe Burrow, not so much Jalen Hurts. I think you're going to end up paying this guy too much money. I think you're going to have to pay him this offseason. They're saying anywhere from 45 to 50 million. What happens when it's time to sign Devontae Smith? Do you have the money to do it? To sign Goddard? Do you have the money to sign Miles Sanders? Do you have the money to sign Hassan Reddick?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. So it's just crazy. What do you think about that stat? That's what I want to know, because that's my takeaway is Jalen Hurts lost his first Super Bowl. If he won a Super Bowl, we know he'd probably get back. Everybody who's won their first Super Bowl got back, or most of them got back. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Eli Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger. Most of them that won their first Super Bowl were able to get back. So what do you think about that stat?
I think, who would you rather be? Jalen Hurts or Jim Kelly?
Oh, man. Probably Jalen Hurts.
I would much rather be Jalen Hurts. Losing the Super Bowl once definitely feels a lot better than losing it 4 times. So I think it really just depends. One of the things, how you get back to the Super Bowl is you're able to keep your kind of core intact. You can lose some pieces, but at the same time, you're generally replacing those pieces, right? What was the number one Chiefs problem when they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Their offensive line was horrible. It was horrible. It could not protect. It couldn't protect anything. And what did the Chiefs do that offseason? They addressed it. They got a boatload of offensive linemen. And the very next year, 2021, right? They were right back in the AFC, still under a brand new line. So that line was still gelling, still trying to get together, things like that. They lost. Like you said, they lost a few pieces. They lost some pieces. But at the end of the day, they were able to redo those pieces. And Tyreek Hill, yes, Tyreek Hill is a huge weapon for the Chiefs. He is a huge weapon for the Chiefs. He is not as big as Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is the rocket fuel that makes that ship go. Mahomes is just the captain of the ship, but Travis Kelce is the fuel. You stop Travis Kelce, 9 times out of 10, you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just proven. You don't stop Travis Kelce, the Chiefs are going to basically do what they did. They're going to win. So, and Travis Kelce was wide open all day long. I don't even think I don't think he got pressured once. Yeah. This dude would leak behind the linebackers. He would leak just in front of the safeties, right over the corner, and boom, wide open.
He'll go down as, in my opinion, the greatest tight end of all time. I've never seen, you have everybody, it's all opinion, it's all subjective, but yeah. Travis Kelce is the best tight end I have seen in my entire life. I think Gronk is incredible, but Travis Kelce's durability and how he's been able to maintain his health.
Yeah.
Just
true.
I gotta take Travis. I would take Travis Kelce over anybody.
Yeah, I mean he is an incredible tight end, and he plays the position better, if not the best, that has ever been done. Right. So Travis Kelce is the rocket fuel that powers the ship that is the Kansas City Chiefs. You lose Travis Kelce, then we can start talking about rebuilding. I don't know why you're mentioning rebuilding, Pat. No one ever said that once.
Not when Travis Kelce's there. There's no
rebuilding. One ever said once that you were rebuilding. Didn't understand that comment.
I don't know where that came from, but maybe he saw it on Twitter. Some people talk.
Yeah, he could also have just made it up himself to use as motivation. Good for him. Clearly it worked. But again, Travis Kelce, he is the key, right? Patrick Mahomes walked into a great situation. He got to sit for an entire year behind a quarterback who, yes, he may not have had the success that everybody thought he was going to have, but in terms of a professional, in terms of somebody who shows up every single day and does his job, that's Alex Smith. That is who he got to sit behind. That is exactly who he got to learn from. So you have Patrick Mahomes sitting behind a very wise veteran quarterback, helping him, showing him kind of the landscape, developing kind of who Patrick Mahomes is, right? And then boom, the very next season, he's unleashed. Why did he do so well? Because one, he had time to just basically plant his roots in his surroundings. So he knew what the hell was going on. Two, nobody had tape on this guy. 0 people knew who the hell Patrick Mahomes was. In terms of scouts knew who we were. Deep people in the NFL knew who we were. The casual fan had no idea who this kid was. So he steps on the scene with basically everything you could want. You have a Ferrari in your garage. You have a Hummer sitting out in the driveway. Oh, and you just have a Rolls Royce right there in the back waiting for you. So Patrick Mahomes is doing everything that he needs to do with the pieces that he has around him. This was kind of like you were saying, this was the test year, right? This was really the year where kind of we were going to see what the Chiefs were kind of made of, because they didn't have the all-star defense. They didn't have the all-star offensive weapons cast that they normally do have. They didn't have that this year. So what they were able to do, is impressive. It is very impressive what they were able to do. But I think it cannot be understated, the level of importance that Travis Kelce brings to this team. And at the same time, I know the original question was about, quarterbacks never getting back to the Super Bowl. So we can flip it over to the Eagles and we can talk about Jalen Hurts. I'm sure that we can look back, and the quarterbacks who have only gotten to one Super Bowl and never returned again, I'm sure they've gone through adversity. I'm sure they're all challenges. I'm sure they've had their obstacles. I'm sure. But what we've seen Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts go through, where it's just kind of been basically like, if you've been following college football, these are the two guys that was talked about for all 4 years, about Joey basically waiting behind all these quarterbacks at Ohio State, then going to LSU and basically becoming the greatest college quarterback to ever grace this earth. Then you have Jalen Hurts, who wins a national championship his first year, comes back, gets benched, embarrassed, leaves.
Well, he didn't win it.
Well, Tua won it. In his
Yeah.
first year, though, his freshman year, right? Comes back.
Jalen Hurts never won a title.
Well,
As I'm saying, as the
as a starting quarterback. As a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
As a starting quarterback. Fair.
Which Joe Burrow has, though.
That's
Joe
true.
Burrow has championship DNA.
That's true. He does. He does. I will give him that. Jalen Hurts, though, has overcome some obstacles. He has overcome obstacles. He's overcome basically being benched and then getting his moment to shine, his redemption moment against Georgia again. So in the following year in the SEC title game. So you have those moments too. You have redemption moments. You have moments that build you up and just keep building you, you know? I think as characters go, Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow are the guys that you want to invest money in. Now, is Jalen Hurts Joe Burrow? No.
To me, it's not even close.
It's not even close.
Jalen Hurts doesn't have the arm or the IQ that
I agree. Well, I would just say the accuracy. Joe Burrow to me is the most accurate quarterback.
I think the arm strength too.
Yeah. Now, Jalen Hurts does possess very good traits as a quarterback. His mobility, his running ability. He can get the ball down the field. He is able to move the ball down the field. And he does make some dumb decisions, but they're more fumbles than they are interceptions. If we look back at his stats, he didn't have. Yeah, he didn't have his touchdown to interception ratio was not crazy, but his interceptions were low. His fumbles, that's where his issue is. He just needs to hang on to the ball security, right? Like you said, that fumble cost, that is one of the reasons. No turnovers to 2 turnovers, or to 1 turnover, I should say. 0 is better than 1. So when you're looking at that category. So Jalen Hurts, does he get back? We'll see. This Eagles team?
I don't know.
This Eagles team is very interesting.
I think Burrow has a better shot. I think Jalen Hurts is just there was something in me, Jake, and it had nothing to do with the Chiefs. It really didn't. There's something in me that just led me to believe that this season was a fluke for the Eagles. Like, it's just fluky. You played the Giants, who are in a rebuild. That's a team that's in a rebuild year.
Yeah.
You played the 49ers without quarterbacks, and then you ran your mouth like you exposed our defense when they were on the field for 50 minutes.
Dallas.
Your schedule was the easiest schedule I think I've seen in like the last 5 or 6 years. They had such an easy schedule. It's not like they played the Chiefs during the regular season. They played the Bengals during the regular season. They played the Niners during the regular season. They didn't play any Bills during the regular season. They didn't play any of these top 5, top 6, top 7 teams during the regular season. I mean, the team that they did beat during the regular season were the Vikings. That was it. So my thing is I just don't see it. I just don't see it, man. There's something in me where it's like, it makes me think of Cam. It makes me think of Kaepernick. It makes me think of a lot of these different quarterbacks that weren't able to do it. McNair never got back. And I'm not going to sit here and say Jalen Hurts is better than McNair. I mean, McNabb never got back.
Yeah.
I mean, is Jalen Hurts at this point in his career better than McNabb? I don't know about that. I think he had a better Super Bowl than McNabb, but I don't know if he's overall better than McNabb. Matt Ryan never even got back. I mean, Matt Ryan, credible quarterback, potentially a Hall of Famer. So, I mean, you look at all these different quarterbacks, even Rich Gannon was really good. He didn't get back. So, there's a reason why the last 16 have not made it back. And Joe Burrow is a guy where it's like, when I see Trevor Lawrence, I say he's not a bust. Joe Burrow is a guy I know is going to get back. Like, I don't have any doubt about Joe Burrow. With Jalen Hurts, I have my reserves. Like, I think he's a good quarterback. I just think that there's something like next year you're not going to be able to play the 49ers with 4 backup quarterbacks. Like, by that point, Trey or Brock are going to be good quarterbacks. I don't care which one you put in. I think they're both going to be good with Kyle. You're going to have to deal with them. And I think that that's going to be your biggest test next year. I think the Niners are going to be coming for you because of all the stuff you were saying. The Niners are hungry to get back. They've been wanting to get back. They've lost the Super Bowl and 2 NFC championship games. That is much more field than just losing the Super Bowl last year. Joe Burrow defied all odds and just came out and said, Super Bowl hangover, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
And guess what? You guys were the best team in the AFC, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It came down to a pushing Mahomes out of bounds, roughing the passer call that took you guys out. I mean, just
Yeah.
seriously, like, because there's no time left. So my thing is I don't think that we're gonna have 2 back-to-back teams that avoid the Super Bowl hangover. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles, I think that I think the Giants are going to have something to say to them in their division. And I also think the Dallas Cowboys are going to have something to say to them in that division. And I also think the Commanders might have something to say too. I'm just saying, like, as far as you're not just going to sweep all of us, like you're going to take some of these L's. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying. Next year, I could easily see the Eagles suffering from, the Super Bowl hangover and having kind of a downer year, slower year. At the same time, if they're able to keep this team together, there is no reason to think that they won't be right back there in the 1, 2, or 3 spot. In the AFC, it's kind of at this point, Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, it's going to be 1, 2, or 3. Those are basically going to be the revolving teams right now until, teams like the Chargers, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Titans, the Jaguars, all these teams, until all these teams are able to step up and, show that they are going to be around for a while. In the AFC, it really boils down to 3 teams. In the NFC, I think it really boils down to 2 teams. Yeah, it just really boils down to 2 because we know the Vikings. We know Kirk Cousins is really going to do what Kirk Cousins does and not be able to complete the job. Dallas, question mark. Giants, we have no idea if that was real or what.
I'm excited about the Lions, man.
Yeah, the Lions next year. Who knows what the hell Detroit is going to do next year, right? Who knows what the hell the Saints are going to do next year? Do they get Derek Carr? We'll see. Does he make a difference at all?
Do the Rams make a comeback?
Do the Rams make a comeback, right? Do Matt Stafford make a comeback, right? That's what I mean. I mean, there's tons of questions. Tom Brady, who the hell is going to quarterback Tampa Bay? So there are lots of things to sort out.
Jimmy G is going to quarterback Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean Indianapolis, who's going to quarterback them? So I mean, there are a lot of openings.
But when you break it down, though, when you really get to because sometimes in life we get long-winded answers and we get people that never get to the point. But when we get it to the point, though, it's the Niners and the Eagles.
Yep, 2 teams.
In my opinion. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that by any means. All I'm saying is if we meet them in the divisional round, the wild card round, the NFC championship round, whatever it is, when we meet the Eagles, I would put all of my money on the 49ers because they are going to be coming for that. Yep. You know what I mean? They didn't have a fair shot. Yeah. And that pissed them off. And the Eagles this is my thing. The Eagles running their mouth. Oh, they got exposed. This is what I felt. This is where I'm like, okay. Hassan Reddick made a clean play. I mean, like he was able to knock the ball out of Brock Purdy's hands. It was a fumble. I didn't hear them say Brock Purdy, it was a big play by Hassan, but it's unfortunate Purdy got hurt. Like,
yeah. No, I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of that because then you're admitting to you had an advantage. Just accept it. You had an advantage.
Yeah.
We probably would have beat you if Brock. I mean, on that first play that Hassan Reddick made a play again, able to do that. Brandon Ayuk was open for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Your boy Bradbury got torched, and that is why Deebo Samuel said he's trash. He is. Yeah. He's not a good corner. Your defensive line makes your corners look like all pros. Well, what happens when you have to go against an elite quarterback and a good O-line? Yeah. So
no sacks.
Defense, in my opinion, got exposed. I'm not saying they're the worst defense in the league, but they're not to me, they're not a number 2 defense.
Yeah, I mean, no sacks, right? No sacks on on that field that was basically, I mean, if you don't know about the field, that field was specifically grown for the last 2 years. Someone has been paid to maintain that field for 2 years.
Probably more than yours and Mike's salaries combined. Probably more for
$800,000 was spent on that field. $800,000 mistake. Whoever you paid money to maintain that field, you should immediately send a collections notice to get all that money back because that field was horrendous. You want to know why the Philadelphia Eagles couldn't get any sacks? It's because they were slipping and sliding all up and down the field. You want to know why Patrick Mahomes probably re-aggravated his ankle so easily? It's because this dude is literally juking himself out on the logo trying to run for positive yards. So whatever they need to do, there are a lot of things going on in this Super Bowl. The field being one, but that was crazy. I mean, seriously, even the lineman from the Philadelphia Eagles, Mailata or something like that, was even saying that it felt like they were basically in a swimming pool because of how like slick and like wet the surface felt. So we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. All I'll say is this. It's a very interesting Super Bowl. It was a really good Super Bowl. It was very competitive. Yes, there were some things I wish didn't happen. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs did win. Yes, they are the quote-unquote best team of 2022, 2023. Patrick Mahomes is now a two-time Super Bowl champion, a two-time Super Bowl MVP, and now a three-time NFL MVP, right? 3 times or 2 times?
I think it's 2.
Yeah, so 2 times. This man's 2s all across the board. 5 NFC championships, 3 Super Bowls, 5 years in the league.
He's the next Brady.
Don't know what more you could ask.
He's the next Brady. He is the next Brady. Brady's gone and Mahomes is taken right. I mean, you're going to have a quarterback in each era.
Yeah.
Whether that be Brady, whether that be Mahomes, whether that be Aikman, whether
Montana.
that be Montana, whether that be Bradshaw, you're going to have that quarterback that collects a lot of rings.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's going to be. It's never been a way where it's 10 teams get a Super Bowl. The Seahawks, the Bills, the Buccaneers, you always have somebody who comes to collect Debo. I mean, he comes to collect those chains. He comes to collect those rings.
I like it.
That's just what it is. That's what it is. I mean, I think that, when you look at his track record and you look at, 5 AFC championship games at home, I know it annoys us. It's not his fault.
Yeah,
he just wins the games that are in front of him. You know what I mean? True. So gained a lot of respect for him. Not like a huge fan or anything like that. It's not in comparison to like Brady or anything like that, but just to see him go up to every single player individually after the game and shake their hand, I thought that was cool. A lot of people are very selfish, or they wouldn't think to, when they're on a screwed up ankle, to continue standing up and go around the entire locker room and thank every single person from the training staff to the coaches to the 53-man roster to go around the entire. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that what annoys us the most is kind of his brother and his wife. I think they're obnoxious. I think that if they were gone, I think we'd even be a little bit more. But he seems. I mean, let me ask you this: if Patrick Mahomes, when it boils down to it, we're not the biggest fans. He's made us cry. He's taken our teams out, and we're salty. And we'll probably always will be. But he seems like he's got good character.
No, Patrick Mahomes is a quality guy. We were having a conversation earlier, and it's not that I dislike Patrick Mahomes. I don't hate Patrick Mahomes. I don't dislike Patrick Mahomes. I have no ill feelings about Patrick Mahomes. I just don't like the coddling. I'm just not a coddler. I just wish when you boiled it all down, the wealth was spread out more than it actually truly is in the NFL. But I think you put it perfectly. And I think it's just the perfect thing to end on. In every single era, you're going to have these guys. We can go back to Bart Starr if you want to talk about the guy who started it all.
Yeah. Back to the 60s.
Yeah. So you're exactly right.
Bart Starr in the 60s, Bradshaw in the 70s, Montana in the 80s, Aikman in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean,
Brady from 2000 to 2020.
You're exactly right, man. Yep. You are 1,000% right. In every single era in football, there has been somebody who has just come along and has just basically been the best thing that we've seen since sliced bread, right? So it's just that's just what seems to happen every single era.
It's the same thing in basketball too. I mean, you look at the Celtics, 60s.
It's more
Lakers,
teams though in
70s.
basketball. It's more teams though in basketball rather than players.
Oh yeah. But hold on. You had Bill Russell.
Yep.
You had Larry Bird.
Yep.
You had Magic Johnson.
Yep. Kareem.
I mean, you had Michael Jordan in the 90s.
Yeah.
You had Kobe Bryant in the 2000s.
And Shaq. Yep.
And then you had Steph Curry. So
Yep.
I'm just saying it's very similar. It's very similar.
It is.
The wealth stays on teams and players, those same teams.
Yeah, and it's just right. You just get lucky sometimes. That's just what the Chiefs did. The Chicago Bears, eat your heart out. I don't know what the hell you were doing. I don't know who you got advice from. I don't know who you were calling, but man, oh man, at least we're not Chicago Bears fans, right?
And why not?
Who wants? At this point, who wants to be a Chicago Bears fan? You're passing on Mahomes, bro. Oh my goodness, he was right there. The best meme I do, like you said, back to Patrick Mahomes. He is a total character guy. But yeah, the best meme is definitely the meme where they superimposed the Bears helmet, and it was like what actually should have happened. And the Chicago Bears, I don't know what the hell you were doing. This could have easily been you. Probably not, because your team is absolute doo-doo. But
they
Kansas
took your
City Chiefs,
guy, man. They took your guy.
They did. Kansas City Chiefs.
They took Trubisky.
Doing the right thing, and Mitchell Trubisky can just keep getting punched in the face by his own team for not getting them the ball. And I think that you and I will just sleep just okay at night. What a season. Holy moly. What a season. I will be honest. I do love the fact that I am spared the heartbreak of my team losing in the big game. Because last year, man, way more brutal than this year. I am upset, but last year, devastated. So
same thing with me, because last year was more devastating because we had a 17-7 lead, and we were en route to beat them, and then I thought we would have won the Super Bowl. I do think the 49ers would have won the Super Bowl in LA. That's like our second home. I mean,
true.
Bengals giving us a chance. You definitely could have won that. I'm just saying, I got to be biased. But losing this NFC Championship game this year didn't hit as hard. Because you didn't have a chance from the third offensive snap.
No, I agree. So the Bengals, the Niners will be back. We will be back. We got a few more episodes for you guys still left to go, but we will definitely be back. But that will do it for the 2022-2023 NFL season. Kansas City Chiefs come out on top. As always, Brandon and I want to thank you at home, wherever the hell you are, for taking the time, for checking us out, for just chilling with us, vibing with us, listening to our thoughts, predictions, analysis, breakdowns, stupid comments, funny comments, dumb comments, all that good stuff. We super appreciate it. We super appreciate it. Yeah, whether you're new, returning, we hope that we have done enough to keep you coming back for more. We love doing this. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people see this. We love doing it, and we'll continue to do it. So thank you for tuning into us all season long. We got a few more episodes, but Brandon and I definitely want to thank you. Brandon, any last words for the people?
I have this feeling, man. I have this feeling about next year. Super Bowl 58, Vegas. Bengals, Niners, man. I have this feeling, man. I don't know. I can just, we've been wanting it the last 2 years. We've been so close. Our teams both made it to the AFC and NFC Championship last year. Both made it to the AFC NFC Championship game this year. In my heart of hearts, we were better than the Eagles. We should have made the Super Bowl. Maybe we would have lost. You made it last year. We should have made it this year. I think both teams are going to make it next year.
I like it. And a perfect tease on what is left to come. We got a full season breakdown in terms of what is kind of our big takeaways from 2022, from 2023, and then our way too early 2023, 2024 predictions. So definitely stay tuned for that. But that will do it for this edition of Meat on the 50. It is our big game edition. A lot of stuff to talk about. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, that is one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan, and I am Jacob Cub, the Fantasy Guy. And until next week, Brandon and Jake, we're out.